Welcome to Forever and Ever with Jumoke My guest today is Yomi and Ayo Ibidapo-Obe. I think I met Ayo a long time ago. It was in one of the conferences that we had in New Covenant Church, and I was immediately attracted to her because she was bubbly, friendly, and always alive. So I got to be friends with her. She has no hairs, but I immediately called her Ayo because she's quite a lot older than me, and maybe just a few years. But usually you would call her Sister Ayo, but I called her Ayo because I just bonded with her immediately. So I got to know her, and then we started talking, and then I thought, oh wow, this is one person I'd like to have on my show one day. When she told me about her journey and how she met her husband, so I said, yes, they definitely must come on Forever and Ever. And so here they are this morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Morning. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, Ayo. So we're looking forward to having a lovely time today.
Yeah.
Hopefully this conversation will shed some light on your relationship. So far, the journey so far, you started quite well, and I want to believe that you are here today, that it's still going good.
Yes.
Ayo, we have been having this conversation for quite a while about how you met Yomi. It was at a party some years ago.
Yes.
So I know Ayo will be at a party definitely. She is a kind of person, she enjoys life. So Yomi, please. So what attracted you to that young lady?
Wow. Yes, it's a few years ago.
Yeah.
The whole story kind of started when she was what they call a freshman, or I think we call that jambite or whatever back in university days. It was my brother's bachelor's party.
Okay.
And I was sent to go kind of bring some ladies to the party. So I had this car, and it was a two-door car. I think it was a Volkswagen or a Datsun panel van or something. I can't remember the car, but it was only two doors, and they kind of carried six ladies. So she happened to sit right next to me. While at the back, there were four other ladies there. And we got stopped at the traffic lights. Then we had, actually it was not traffic, it was a checkpoint, police checkpoint. So they stopped us and they asked for my, what they call particulars, driver's license and everything else. And I just reached across into the glove compartment. And in no time at all, my hand was on Ayo's lap. And she gave me this stare. This really nasty stare. And that was how it started. And we got to the party, and everything just went on from there.
Interesting. So you carried on. So how did you manage to fall? I mean, going on from there, with that dirty look, and wonder what is up to. So what happened after that?
Well, we became friends. At the party, he was the only one, even though I gave him a dirty look. Well, he still had, I was intrigued by him. First of all, he was drinking from not an ordinary cup, and I thought, who's this guy? He looked like a rascal. He didn't, he was down to it. So there was something attractive for me there, which I didn't know then. So I just thought, oh, this guy that brought me in was trying to get some feelings by rubbing on my tie. Well, we got talking. We began to see that we had things in common. We lived around the same area and all that. So I just said, so Ned said, what's your number? And I thought, okay, so I just gave him my number, which I would normally do, but there was just something compelling about him. So I gave him my telephone number, and then we left it like that.
Okay. So the journey began, and up to the moment when you popped the question.
Yeah.
That I find quite intriguing.
Can I just say something really? This is funny again, because I'm looking back and I'm remembering when she gave me her number, I lost it.
Okay.
But The next time I was in town, I just knew that I knew her last name, her surname, and I picked up the telephone book directory. Adebanjo was her maiden name, and I looked through every Adebanjo in the directory, and I called everyone. It was about 30.
Wow.
And what I finally got, I think about the 25th one, I can't remember, and the phone rang, and she picked it up. And she might not have picked it up. If she didn't pick it up, that would have been the end. And I've lost contact with her.
Interesting. So I would want to say that after going through that much trouble, you find a gem. So why did you not pop the question?
I wasn't ready. I just left. I just finished youth service, university youth service. I didn't have a job. Even in Lagos back then, I used to stay with a friend. And I felt I just didn't have enough. And I've been to her home a few times. And in the back of my mind, I said to myself, what can I offer this lady? I just felt I didn't have everything ready to feel that, yes, I could actually take that next step. And that was what happened, really.
Okay. So why did you pop the question? Especially since you knew that he wasn't ready. I'm sure you were quite aware that as a very ambitious young man, he wants to have his car, that flat, and everything in place before he popped. So why did you do that?
I didn't see him that way. I saw him as somebody I got on with. He's my best friend, still is my best friend. So I was like, if I was going to do anything, what they call this marriage, I was going to do it with him because I'm relaxed with him, I'm at peace with him. And, so when he took me out, for a meal, and I said to him, Yomi, I want to marry you. He was taken aback, and he didn't say anything. And I just said, you know what? You either answer yes or no now. And he just kept quiet. And I knew that probably was the shock of it. But I knew deep inside that I was going to marry him. And then I was traveling and I was coming over to England and I said, I want to marry you. Will you marry me? And
wow, that was quite bold. And when he didn't say anything, that was quite crucial. I think for me, I would have hid under the table and not come out for another week or so.
No, I didn't even think about it then. It was like, well, I've asked him, he's my best friend. Will you marry me? That's the only next thing that we can do together. It's like playing, dad and mom. So I was traveling to England and I asked him, will you marry me? Because once I get to England, I'm just going to go for it, my independence and all that. But I think the shock of me leaving got him jolted up, thinking, gosh, I really want that girl, but I don't have what it takes. And I didn't see him that way, that he was thinking that he has to have all his everything together. He said he looked at me and thought, what can he offer me? Well, he had loads to offer me without him. And I never saw him that way. He was thinking that he didn't have any money to offer me. He wasn't really working. He's just finished. And I've just finished. That there was nothing. I didn't see it that way at all. I just saw it that it was the next step, and without me knowing that I was actually very in love with him, and those things now pan out later. Oh, really?
So you weren't actually very much in love with him?
I was, obviously, that's what came out from inside, that you think, but that boldness to say, will you marry me? Sometimes I think about it and I'm thinking, what was I thinking about?
Also, the context is important because she was leaving the next morning, and we went out to dinner. And I must say, that was the first time ever I could afford to take her to a very expensive restaurant. And it was a point in my life where I felt proud that at least I can do this. But then again, it was obvious that I wouldn't see her for a while. But also, in those we wrote letters in those days. I said, listen, we'll keep in touch. And my aim was, at some point, I'm sure, when I'm ready, I will pop the question. But just at that point in time, it was a question of just cementing the relationship and making sure that, look, you're going abroad, but we'll still keep in touch.
So you went abroad without getting a yes?
No, I didn't get a yes.
You did?
I didn't.
You didn't. So what happened thereafter? You went abroad, he was back in Nigeria. So at what point did you now hear the yes, or did he now make up his mind whether this is what...
So I got here and I came to do my postgraduate. I was working, so everything, but we kept on communicating.
Okay.
And he was already close to my family, so he would go home to my parents. But we kept on talking, so I used to tell him what's going on in my life. So we were still boyfriend, girlfriend, that kind of thing. And so whatever I did, he was always involved. Then he got a job. And then when I got a job, he was proposing in his letters. So it was like, before it used to be girlfriend, now it's my wife, kind of thing. So the subtle change came out, and it was like, I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to, we're reading one of the letters as we were coming this morning. And
you still have the letters?
I still have the letters.
Wow.
I still have the letters. So we're reading one this morning, and I thought, you'd been proposing without you knowing you'd been proposing in your letter. So the letter changed and all that. And then he got a job that was going to bring him over to England.
Okay.
And he was kept on telling me that once I get to England, I'm going to get you a ring and all that. And that was what he did.
Quite interesting. Now the journey so far. I know in one of the conversations we were having, so settling into marriage, you said health-wise, he was the right person for you.
Yes.
Do you want to shed any light on that?
Yeah, health-wise, I have sickle cell, so this is an inherited blood disease where you could have crises, which is, what's crisis? It's like when you don't have enough oxygen passing through, so you're in pain and all that. So I knew that I couldn't just get on with anybody, and so I said to him, along the way when we've been talking, I said to him that, can you take care of me? I'm not just an ordinary person, that kind of thing. So he said, well, he went off to research it, because, and there was a stigma to, you having sickle cell, but I was never brought up with a stigma. I was brought up that you could do anything and you can be anything. So it was that kind of background. So he said, okay, he went to do his research, and he says, yes, I've done enough research on it. In our lifetime, there will be a cure for it.
Wow.
And, and he came back and he was like, yes, I'm up to it. And I'd known that without me being able to express it, it was that he was the one for me. And that, even though I'd had a few others, the tools were not there. Yes, in the quality, but he had that quality. And what was that quality? He had a lot of empathy, he had a lot of patience, he had a stamina to go through with things. So you knew that it wasn't just on the surface, that if there were deep issues, deep problems, you would go through it together. And that came from knowing that you're friends together, you go through crises together, problems, and you will come out stronger for it. So I knew that, I saw that in him. He didn't see that in himself, but I saw that this is the right person for me. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I must hand it to you, and that's why I shook your hand, because it must not have been easy.
Yes, but then again, I think I had the privilege of having an independence of life and of thought at that time. My parents were not living in the same city, and when I started working, it was a kind of job that it was on an oil rig, and I was working with expats, and a lot of my colleagues at that time were based in the UK, in Windsor. So it was easy in some way to relate my working pattern and knowing that my career was going somewhere. And also, I had this deep belief that when you love somebody, you love them in total. You bring your baggage, you bring your experiences, you bring everything that defines who you are into a relationship. And the other person as well, you know and you trust and you believe. I can't explain where that belief comes from. Maybe now that I'm older, and because I'm a minister, I'm able to draw from the source of where that comes from normally. And obviously, as you well know, Jumoke, when you're in ministry, you need to have empathy. Be able to carry on other people's issues and be a good listener. And I think way back then, where Daniel and I were concerned, there was a strong bond, there was a magnetism that existed. And when she went abroad, for example, I just felt a sense of loss. And I just, in my head and in my heart, knew that I had to do everything to make sure that we were together.
What I wanted to say, that obviously during the early years, you were not a minister. And drawing from that strength might not necessarily be what you were used to. I mean, those are the challenges of when you have a crisis. What normally goes on, coping, what you need to do as a husband. The children are also there. What were the issues that you faced?
The issues he faced was he knew that the house had to be warm, and that no matter what, the electricity and the gas bills had to be paid to a standard, to a T. He had to keep me warm all the time. I had to keep myself warm all the time. And to stop me from getting any crisis or, even dealing with stress, we used to manage that. But even before he became a minister, he used to pray. He used to encourage me, say, "Zilly, we can do it." So even when I want to kind of I can't do it, we can do it. So, and I was an easy potato as well, because I was like, the minute I'm sick, yes, I'm sick. But the minute I get well, I want to do 1,000 things at the same time. So he's trying to catch up with me that, this is somebody that I was still, petting, and she's all over the place, I was pregnant. Instead of going to mother care around the corner, I'll go to mother care that is kind of like 6-7 miles away, because that used to just get me tripped up. And, he was always trying to catch up with me that, daily pace yourself, because, when you get sick, we have to all manage it together. And it was unpredictable. I could be fine now, and next minute I'm like, really, I'm now ill. And then he has to adjust his program, and adjust. Maybe we're saying we're going out to a party, and suddenly I cannot go to that party anymore because I'm not well. And then he will be like, well, I'm not going anymore. And he will just lie down with me and keep me warm and all that. And even when the children came, they were fantastic. They grew up and saw their mom that, this is mom crying. What can we do to help her? So they knew the routine. They knew what they had to do. Mom, do you want a cup of tea to keep the house warm? Wrap them in blanket. So they grew up with all that, So and we kind of faced those challenges as we come, and we overcame them too. That yes, this is only for a short while. This pain is going to be for a short while, and after that we move over to. So it was just part of our lives, and everybody did what they had to do. And so when I get better, I overcompensate, because I feel, they've been there for me, I need to. So you just see a hyper mom, a hyper wife going on, and that was the only way I could manage it on both. So people were kind of like, my in-laws became like, are you sure you're not pretending, because you're sick one minute and next minute you're flying off the handles and all that, and it took them a while to accept that.
It did take them a while.
It took them a while to accept that this is what she's got, this is what it means, and now everybody now knows, okay, it's fine.
One thing that occurred to me is that, I'm sure you must have told your parents about that particular issue. How did they take it?
Actually, I missed that part in my when I was trying to explain the circumstances I was in. Like I said earlier on, my parents were in a different city, Ibadan, at that time, and I was in Lagos, and I worked on oil rigs offshore. So I wasn't really in the context of being home per se. Then I lost my mother very early, and that kind of set me back a bit. And because of that, that's why I said I had an independence of thinking and of lifestyle. But I knew that if I went to my family with this lady having sickle cell, the stigma would have been very, very huge. And that's why the whole idea of joining her in England began to materialize.
Okay.
That if we kind of went to England like eloping, there'll be no family issues to deal with. And that's exactly what happened eventually. We came to England. I think I arrived in August. Within a month, we were married.
Wow.
And we just went to the registry with 2 friends and we got married. I picked up the ring for about maybe £30 at H. Samuel, somewhere in Wembley. No big fanfare about the whole thing. Bundled up in my friend's 2-door car again, 2-door cars, you know. Was with 2-door cars. And a year later, or when things were a bit settled, we did what we call a marriage blessing.
Okay.
Yes. And obviously, I have a sister in England. And slowly and steadily, she came on board. Yes.
Interesting. Great. So I know you must work, like you said, your work take you away from home a lot. So how have you been able to manage that, being away from home, your wife with the children at home?
Yes. Incidentally, at one point when the kids were a lot younger, I was the one at home.
Okay.
Looking after them. Then, as her career also took a step in the right direction because she's a teacher, I also began to expand on my career as well. And those early years, we knew what we had to do, and we kind of set our priorities. So the travels initially went too far away from home.
Okay.
And as the children grew, and she also, as a teacher, she was also able to put the children in a school close to where she also was working. So that gave me a bit of room to go further afield with my work. Yeah.
That's fine. I know, Ayo, you're bold, you're adventurous. When you want something, you go for it.
Yeah.
I know that for sure. So how does that filter into your decision making? So more or less to say, so who wears the trouser? Is it Ayo or you, or is it in between? Joint partnership. And who has the last say?
It's a question for me or for Ayo?
I'll allow you to answer that. She will answer it as well.
It's a difficult one because marriage throws a lot of things at you. Issues come up. And I don't believe personally that somebody should wear the trousers. I mean, with that phrase. Having said that though, somebody should take ultimate responsibility. And that is my role. But in making decisions, she's very good at initiating a lot of things. And I'm the one that will kind of think about it, put a kind of strategy together, and see through to the end. Because I see myself as somebody, I like finishing whatever I start. And oftentimes, in her situation, she has a lot of things running, potentially doesn't really see through in that, like, not in a negative way, but she's seen it as, this is what I want to do. Then I see my role as facilitating it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So, Ayo, what happens when he says, no, we're not going this direction? And you're thinking, okay, as far as I'm concerned, this is the way to go. What do you do in that circumstance?
Well, first I'll start by arguing and, trying to get my way, then if that doesn't work, and I just go to God in prayer and say, well, this is what we have, and which way. So I just kind of get at peace with myself. And as maturity setting, I realized that it's not something that I want to nag. When I was younger, I'll be nagging over it, but now it's like just pray about it, and whatever happens, happens. So it's kind of like you now put your trust in not him, but in God, that you will do whatever it takes. So that's how now, when I was younger, I would argue and, I want to have my way. And if he says no, then that's fine. Even with all my boldness and all that, I'm still a very obedient person. So with all that, I would listen, and I do take advice. So if the decision is like, oh, I don't believe in it, I'll like, okay, let me see what this other person is thinking about. And then, I might share it with one or two people and say, what do you think? Then in the end, I'll just go to God. But Lord, I don't have the energy, and you're my connection. So you do what you think is best for us. And then I just kind of be at peace with it and just leave it like that. Well, I initiate most of the thing, and I'm glad that he's there to finish it off. I'm always kind of like excited. But in between that excitement, there is a deeper sensation or deeper feel with God. So you might see me a little bit all flighty and all that, but that's not the inside. The inside is kind of like, Lord, where are you taking us? And the inside is a woman who's probably crying inside, and all that issues are going on. How are we going to deal with this? He travels a lot, and I could remember when he started traveling, I just thought, I have two boys. So there was no time to be ill or anything. It was just get it, just be focused and get going. Just do what you have to do and get going. And people will see me and think, really, that you're so, you're partying. But when he was traveling, I stopped. I didn't go to parties because I knew that I had to concentrate on my boys, and they were energetic boys. So I had to concentrate on that. So I was focused as anything. And when you're focused, you achieve more because you're only dealing with God. He's not in, so decisions needs to be made. You need to just make it. So some, I'll call him on the phone. I can't make the decision. What's going on? What should we do? And some, I just get on with it. So yeah.
Thank you. Yomi, you have two boys. Let's look at a scenario whereby your boys come to you and tell them they are getting married to somebody who probably have a life-threatening issue. Or what kind of advice, and if some of our audience who might be going through a similar situation, you have a young lady who probably has such a sense at a particular instance before, whereby they were actually engaged, and the guy, probably because of his family pressure, had to pull out of the marriage just a few months into the wedding. So what kind of advice would you give such a person?
I think first of all, we'll talk about my boys. They're men now, because they've seen the kind of family we've kind of put together, and they've seen their mother go through all sorts. I've raised them to have a sense of responsibility and care. And one of the things I did not mention is that with sickle cell particularly, she mentioned a lot of things about warmth and all that. I actually used to physically massage and rub her body. I, make sure my hands are warm. Then I kind of rub her arms, back, and all over the place to keep her, really comfortable. My sons learned how to do that to their mother. So there are times when they actually physically did that to keep their mother well and looked after. So I'll say to anyone who obviously doesn't have to be sickle cell, could be in any situation, is love is the defining factor. If you have this sense of this feeling, this deep understanding that you love this person, that you have to commit. And when you commit, it's all encompassing. And you have to also understand the responsibility that's involved. I did a lot of research, and I knew that this I can handle. Obviously, with God, He makes everything beautiful, and with Him, all things are possible. So that's what I will advise any young person who wants to embark on this journey. It's a great journey. Ups and downs are present, but it's a beautiful journey.
I know there are women out there who were in a similar situation that you were in when you saw this young man who is dilly-dallying and not able to make up his mind whether, yeah, I'm going for this girl. Like our young men, I know my young daughter would tell me most boys now would want to have that car, they want to have that house before they get married. I see quite a number of them still unmarried into their 30s, and it's quite going. I see a lot of it happen. So what kind of advice would you give such a lady?
I would say if you believe in the guy that you want to, go for it, and just pray that, Lord, this is the person I want to go for. Just add favor to it, Lord. But ask questions. This is the time where, because this is your life, really. This is the time where you're worrying for your life. Without you knowing it. Take God serious at that time and begin to ask Him questions. That, Lord, just reveal to me. It could be through a dream. Okay, yes, dreams sometimes are not. It could be, where somebody says something to you. But if you believe in that person, don't look at it look at the raw element that is God. Don't look at the finished product that, I want him to be, it has to be perfect. No, it doesn't have to be perfect. And know that you two are not perfect, and that you can bring something, you're bringing something into the relationship. Most women now are very independent, and so you should be. But if you can see a potential in a young man, that okay, he's not there yet, but you can see a potential, go for it. I would say go with your gut feelings. Go, and irrespective, some things, I could remember, if I say something, my husband, I'm older than my husband by a couple of months. I could remember my mom saying to me, oh, you're older than him. And I was like, yes, by a couple of months, and I'm going for it. So, it doesn't matter what society is saying or where you are, what your parents are saying. If you believe it, that you want that young person, go for what you want. And, and if God is on your side, it will be so. So I would say a lot of young women should not feel, some young women are trained that he should be perfect, he should be this, he should not. Of course, I wouldn't want you to go with somebody who's beating you. You look at what, or you look at where you are now. What is this guy doing to you? Does he make you laugh? Or are you in an argumentative situation all the time? So you begin to decipher what makes you feel good. That's what does this guy do? What is he bringing to the table? Because when the ups and downs comes, those are the things that you will remember, that will take you the extra mile. That, I remember he does this, he does this. But if he's whacking you silly at the beginning, or he's controlling you, then you know straight away that that's not what your Heavenly Father designed you to be. So you begin to back off. You don't need, because look, the Father who has you protects you, loves you. He's willing to do so many things. You're precious to Him. So why should you sell yourself short? If He's not good enough, stay away. But if you know that there's something that you believe in Him that He can do, then go for it.
I'm sure you've been, challenged and encouraged. I know I have been. With the level of commitment that this couple show and demonstrate to each other. To me, it's good. God had ordained love. They love one another. They are lovers and they are friends. I want to believe that you are home watching this today. I want to believe that you know that with God all things are possible.
Yeah.
And that indeed you can do it. If this person is valuable to you, if this person you think adds value to you, you know that it's worth fighting for.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciation to both of you for coming on our program today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can I, on behalf of Ayo and myself, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
When I read the synopsis of what you're doing, I felt really glad and happy and privileged to be part of it, because I know that it's definitely going to be a blessing to somebody out there. So thank you for having us.